This is a little different from my usual treks with Jason into the remote deserts and canyons of eastern Oregon. There are a handful of legally drivable beaches in Oregon, and while I've been on this one a few times before, today we're going to push further than I've ever gone. We met up in the coastal forest about an hour ago, and after airing down, we've had some miles of rough road to navigate.
So you've seen me drive down this road with Lucy in the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day video at the end of my Eastern Oregon trip in 2021 that happened to fall on record heat weather. I cut that trip short after about 5 days and buzzed over to the coast instead to get out of the heat, and I came down and camped down this road next to the beach. And then again in 2022, I came down here with the supposed Amazon Prime shoot that ended up not being on Amazon Prime. Came down here with Chad of Living the Van Life and Kristen, Badass Brunette, along with Jeff and his crew, Braxton, Evan, Christian. Someone behind us here, Jason. I'm gonna let him by. I have been down this road a number of times, but I have to admit that this is by far the wettest I've ever seen it. And the little creek crossing that is always there and gave me sort of pause to stop and look at it when I hit it with the Forester, it was like nothing compared to just some of these mud puddles along here that have been much deeper and muddier. Lucy and I camped up in the trees back up behind me there, and another time I camped down in the trees down in there. But we're gonna head out onto the beach. So I did air my tires down to 13 PSI. I'm feeling like the sand shouldn't be excessively soft because it's been raining and everything is a little bit wet and it's cold. It's not like when it's warm and dry and really fluffy. See how it goes.
We've gone as far as we can go on this beach. A large river lies beyond that jetty. While studying satellite imagery planning this trip, we both thought we had seen access to a promising area of public land just inland here, and there are still traces of an old road behind the beach dune. But even if it had been passable, nearby signage has informed us vehicles must stay on the beach, so we wouldn't have been able to drive in there anyway. Soon, headlights emerged from the mist. Our local friend Jimmy, a lifelong resident here on the coast, is going to join us for the night. After examining the tide tables, Jimmy agrees we'll stay high and dry through the upcoming high tides. It's raining on us, but the wind is mild, so I'm going to deploy the awning for some shelter. Jimmy's got his tent and awning deployed, Jason's getting his wood stove fired up, and we're ready to enjoy our afternoon on the beach. Seals swimming in the shallows cast frequent, curious glances our way. So if you've already watched Jason's video of this little trip, you may have already seen me and Jimmy put our awnings away because the wind picked up and got really nasty. Now Jason, out of just pure dumb luck, happened to set up his van in a way that blocked the wind, which is unusually coming from the south instead of the north, as it normally does on the Oregon coast. So now he's got his awning out, we're gonna have the fire over alongside his van.
Right. Well, yep, that's it. That you can.
slept pretty well last night when I was sleeping, but I got woke up so many times. It was a super blustery, rainy night. The wind was blowing, it rained and rained and rained. Can't really see anything out there because the screen is all wet. It is nice to have the ability to make my coffee in here with this little stove, so I don't have to be out in the wind and rain trying to make coffee. I knew this was likely to be sort of a wet trip, so since it was just an overnighter and I could do without refrigeration, I devoted my Jackery 1000 to running my little electric heater. So I've got a little bit drier heat in here on this trip. Now, it's not an advertisement for the Jackery. I am not sponsored by them. It's just what I have. I get a lot of questions about how the camper does in the rain, and it's not 100% perfect. I don't have experience with other campers. I don't know what is or isn't normal. I mean, I feel like anytime you've got a tent, you're gonna have some vulnerability. For example, when it's raining and there's strong winds, the side of the tent that's getting hit with the wind, in this case last night it was this side of the tent, the very sort of bottom of the zipper can end up saturated, and I'll get a little drip of water that comes down here. And over here on the other side, where it wasn't getting hit by the wind, this zipper was completely dry, even though, you know, it was raining on the entire tent the entire night. So propelled by wind, you know, wind is able to push some water through that zipper, I guess. Ultimately, for as much wet winter camping as I have done with this thing over the past year, I feel like I can't complain. A little bit of water now and then, it dries out easily. I definitely bring more water into the camper on my boots and on my coat when it's raining than gets in through any other way. Is it 100% watertight? No. In March, I will have had the camper for a year, and at that point I do intend to do sort of a more comprehensive 1-year review of life in the Topo Toppers camper. I will say that despite some small imperfections here and there, I am absolutely thrilled with this camping setup. It has worked out great for me. It's by far the best way I've ever camped. It makes setting up camp and breaking down camp just not daunting in the least. You don't even think twice about it. It works very well for me in the way I like to travel, which is, you know, to move every day, be someplace new. So all three of us here today grew up in Oregon. We're all experienced with being on the coast. We all have a healthy respect for the ocean. I spent my whole life coming to the coast multiple times a year. Jimmy actually grew up here on the coast. Now, when people ask me about beach camping, I normally discourage it. On the Oregon coast, it can be dangerous, and I usually recommend that people are camped someplace sort of at least behind the beach dune. We took a very careful look at this site yesterday. We spent a lot of time looking at the evidence here, looking at the height of the morning's high tide and the height of the upcoming evening's high tide, and determined that we were way out of reach of the water here. There is debris there, but we recently, about a month ago, had some what are called king tides that are exceptionally high tides that have pushed debris higher on the beach than the ocean would normally go. Here you can see either my or Jason's footprints from yesterday. There are the rigs up there. And here's where they were washed by last night's high tide. And it may be hard to tell, but we were actually up on an additional shelf up above there. Now again, I wouldn't normally recommend camping on the beach. We have something called sneaker waves that push
higher above what the surf is normally doing, and they can sweep way up the beach. We have a couple people die each year because of sneaker waves. But again, between analyzing the height of the tide and the height of the land where we were very comfortable that we were going to be okay.
Other stretches of this beach are much narrower, and we actually need to wait for this morning's high tide to recede before we'll be able to get back out of here. So we've got some time to enjoy a little more of the beach wildlife. Jason was hoping to find a good spot for some jetty fishing, but overall, this jetty is not built up tall enough to be safe at high tide. Finally, the tide is low enough for us to sneak on out of here, so after our drive back up the beach, it'll be time to air up and head home. But don't go anywhere. I might have some outtakes to share with you.
Oh.
Come on, man. You're on the final leg. I'm so proud of you.
I've been wondering for this road, there's definitely a lot of beautiful rainforest.
Yeah, it's really got that rainforest look down here.
I feel like you could have done better than that.
Just realized I probably should shift into four-wheel drive. Made it to the beach.
Oh.
Well, hi there.
Nice
action camera.
Nice camera.
When you drive, would you just kind of go, kind of swoop in there and on down? That was not the shot I meant to get. I always forget I gotta pop the camper before I deploy the awning.
So you change your mind about deploying your awning?
Yeah, I don't want to sit here in the rain. And well, it seems like it's not windy.
1 hour later.
The wind picked up and got really nasty. We're gonna say a special thanks to Jimmy for the special bourbon.
There's no roll to the backside here. So the back, are you paying attention though? I see you're filming.
I'm totally listening to you.